Rev up your engines! Well, today I got an oldie, a 92 GMC Sonoma. It's still running, but it's running like crap. And it's a problematical vehicle for one main reason. It's a 92. It doesn't have the OBD2, the onboard diagnostic 2 system, that I can use my phenomenal tools to analyze all the data. It only has what's called OBD1. So one, I or anybody else can't use our fancy new machines to analyze it, but it needs analysis because, okay, it might be old, it's a 92, but as you can see, it's got throttle body fuel injection. So, in the case of this vehicle, if it would have been a few years older, it would have had a carburetor. We could have put a 2-barrel carburetor on the thing. That'd probably fix all the problems because it's got a running problem. Idling won't take off. So, what are we gonna do? I got this Sonoma GM code reader. It will read codes, and it's got a stored code. A Novamec's pretty good, even has a booklet to explain everything. So we're gonna plug it in and see what crazy things it says first. Now, as you can see, it's got a data port, but it's a different shape. See, it's a different shape than the older ones. It's all rectangular. You just plug it in, then we turn the key on, and we have to analyze the flashes on the check engine light. It's crazy, but all this flashing means something. So we'll start at the very beginning, and we'll start counting. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 24. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. That's 33. 24, 33. Yes, we're dealing with dinosaur technology, but that's all we got on this old thing. Now, after a while, it starts repeating the codes. So, I read them all, and here's our giant list. We have code 12, 24, 33, and 45. Now, here's where years of experience comes into play. I used to work on these things all the time when I was young, right? Well, in this case, code 12 doesn't mean anything because it's the first code you'll get when you're checking for trouble codes, which means it's ready to display code. So, we can ignore code 12. If you really had a code 12, it wouldn't start because it wouldn't crank. It wouldn't know what the revolutions were. It wouldn't know how to set thing up. In this case, it cranks and starts. It just runs like crap. And the other codes that it displayed were 24, 33, and 45. So let's look at 24. Now, I realize this thing is really old. It has almost 200,000 miles on it. And in this case, code 24 is variable speed sensor, open or short circuit. Problems with park neutral switch. This is a manual transmission that doesn't have that. It starts up okay, so that's not our problem. That's not why it's running like crap. Well, as you can see here, there's 34. Code 34 are either MAF sensors or MAP sensor problems. Now, this is no vehicle doesn't have a MAF sensor, mass airflow sensor. It's got a MAP sensor, the manifold absolute pressure sensor. And on this baby, it's right here. I did mention that to get the thermostat, he took all this stuff off. He might have messed with something, so we'll have to check that. It could be the sensor, the wiring to the sensor, the vacuum pressure that goes to the sensor, lots of things. But let's look at the last code too. The last code is 45, which means rich exhaust. So their exhaust is running rich. Now, there's a zillion things that can do that, but if the MAP sensor's wrong, that's what helps put the right amount of fuel in the vehicle, because this is fuel injected, even though it's not one fuel injector for each of the 6 cylinders. It's only got 2, one for each 3 on each side of the V6 engine. So let's look at the MAP sensor. So I'll get all this crap out of the way. Now, the way the MAP sensor works is it uses vacuum pressure to see what's happening in the engine. And in this case, this part here, hey, it's broken off. Just hook my vacuum gauge up to the piece that's supposed to send vacuum to the MAP sensor and see if it even has pressure. So, this is the one that supplies vacuum. We'll hook our gauge and see if it does anything. Start her up. And it has no vacuum pressure. There is none. So not only was it broken, there's no vacuum pressure going into it anyways. We got to hook vacuum pressure up to it first. So we'll try a different vacuum line, see if it's got pressure. Here we go with another hose. Okay, that's not vacuum pressure. So we finally found something that has vacuum pressure that's going to give the MAP sensor the vacuum pressure so it can measure things. Maybe the sensor's bad too, I don't know. The problem is, this is an OBD1 clunker. I can't read that data, so we got to kind of guess here. So, this vacuum's got power. This go into the MAP sensor now. So it's going to get vacuum powered. Let's put that there for the time being. We'll tighten it up later. Start it up and run it a little. It's already sounding a lot better. You can see it's already idling a lot better. Now, I just put a twist tie here. Plastic's all broken. The twist tie works fine. It's just to hold it in place. Take the first spin. Well, it's not shaking as much. Let's see how it runs. It's already running better than it was. I don't have to rev the heck out of it to get it to move. Now it makes all kinds of noises because it's old and rattly. That's the gear shift. It's got 200,000 miles on it, but hey, it's running a lot better than it was before. It's not jerking like it was before. Just realize these V6 engines have a limited lifespan. This one's pushing 200,000 miles. It's pretty much near the end of its lifespan anyway, the engine. But at least it's running better. Before, when we came to a stop, the engine was racing. Now it's idling at the right speed. Definitely working better. When we accelerate, yeah, it's not a race car, but hey, it's not doing all the jerking. It's running better than it was. This isn't a vehicle I'd jump in and drive to California, but hey, for driving around Kentucky and Tennessee, just cruising around, it's good enough now. Now it's got hold of the exhaust, so it makes noise, but like I said, it's idling pretty good now, and the check engine light has stayed off. There's no check engine light now. And when you rev it up, it doesn't really sound too bad for a vehicle that's got almost 200,000 miles on it, assuming this is right. Might even have more, who knows. And as we look under, you can hear the exhaust leak. We can also see that the catalytic converter has been cut off and bypassed. Good thing this old truck lives in Tennessee and Kentucky, where they don't do any kind of inspections. So drive it down the road as long as it runs. The engine's only got a certain amount of life left in it. They've taken the catalytic converter off, so at least it breathes better. So I think the muffler has a little restriction because it's puffing kind of weak. The muffler's probably kind of clogged up too. So yeah, you can fix these old vehicles that have OBD1, but you need a lot of knowledge because you're not going to get any data. Let's say this had been an OBD2. I could watch the data on the sensors. I could graph them. I can't do that on this thing unless I want to get out a freeze frame oscilloscope and hook it up and then analyze the waveforms. Good luck on that one, right? So at least that cheap little scan tool, I think it was $30 at AutoZone, the Innova, plugged in and it gave me those codes, and I don't care about the range sensor and all that crap. All he wanted to do is get it to run better, and that was all. The MAP sensor, which measures the manifold absolute pressure. It wasn't hooked up to a line that even sucked vacuum pressure, so it would have gotten 0 vacuum pressure the whole time, and that's why it was really running like crap. You did take all that stuff off, so that kind of shows. Yeah, he said it was running okay before he took it all off. Well, take my advice. If you're taking a bunch of stuff apart in the car, get out your phone. Take pictures before. Then you'll know, hey, this hose goes there, that goes there. Take 4 or 5 pictures. They don't cost anything, they're on your phone. Then you'll know where stuff goes. If you're gonna mess with your car, take pictures before. So you don't have to worry about jail. I wonder where that thing went. And here's some bonus questions and answers. Well, here's why you need to do a little research before you buy a car. Sid Mouse sends me and he says, Scotty, listen to this. I went to look at a car, a 2011 Subaru Forester at a car dealership in Michigan. They tried to send me out on a road test without a license plate. I have a commercial driver's license, so I protested, and I drove it in their commercial zone to get a feel of it. I checked the Carfax only to find some issues, bad wheel bearings and suspect repairs to wiring on the firewall. Kind of wonder who fixed it. So I Googled the dealership and found out they had just been sued for illegal financing. So I got a warning for all of you. Do your research on everything when you buy a car. It's not safe out there. I dodged a bullet doing a little extra research. Dealerships are a joke, says Sid. Well, I agree, Sid. It's been that way for quite some time. They're out there to make as much money as possible. They're just middlemen. They don't create anything. They don't build anything. They just sell stuff. And anybody that sells stuff, they don't care. They want to sell as many things as possible, as fast as they can for the highest price they possibly can. And if they got a problem, they're just going to pass it on to you. Because if you ever read their warranties on most used cars, what does it say? As is, no warranty. If they stood behind their stuff, they wouldn't say something like that. Now, I realize in many states there's laws of pre-existing conditions that if you buy a car at a dealership and it's got like the engine blows up the next day, that's a pre-existing condition, but then generally you have to sue them, hire a lawyer. Who wants to get involved in that kind of garbage, right? It's best to stay away from them in the first place. They charge too much money to begin with. And then they might sell you something that's way high, but it isn't even a good vehicle. And a guy down the street here, he's on a second vehicle that just tranny went out. He bought the first one for $7,000, 200-something thousand miles. Tranny went out. Then they let him, here's another one for $7,000. The tranny went out on that one. And they're not doing anything about it. So you got to be real careful. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.